Hello students, welcome to the channel Social Science with Dipankar. Today in this video I am going to tell you the most important questions from your political science textbook class 10th. Okay, so without wasting much time, let us start the journey. Here these questions which I am going to tell you, first two questions I have already noted down, few more questions I'll write. So at least those students who haven't prepared well, and even for those students who are hoping to become the toppers, they should also go through the whole video till the end of this video and understand which are the most important questions and should prepare accordingly, right? They should prepare keeping in mind the notes from the NCRT, right? Whatever they learn, wherever from they learn, they should always correlate it with NCRT. I would suggest them to read from NCRT books only. And I'm telling you the most important questions. Some of them are in-text questions, some of them are NCRT questions. So be prepared and go through the complete video, and then accordingly you prepare yourself for the board exam, because board exam is just a stone's corner away from here. Okay, so let's start. The first chapter, power sharing, from which I've taken the first question that I've taken is, what do you understand by the system of checks and balances? So I would ask you people to just prepare this question very well, because this is a question, very important question. And in this, we have to talk about the horizontal distribution of power share. The three organs of government, legislature, executive, and judiciary, all they are placed at the same level and they are exercising different powers, right? And previous year also we studied about it, that how government officials and the ministers, though they exercise power, but they are responsible to the parliament or legislative assembly. At the same time, we also see that the judges who are appointed by the executive, they also check the functioning of the government or any laws made by the legislature, right? So we have to prepare well for this question, and it is that system which I just spoke about is the system of checks and balance, because in which we see how the executive is answerable to the parliament, right? The parliament checks the executive, and how the judges, the judiciary, also checks the executive, right? Plus the judiciary also gives any verdict, keeping in mind the laws that have been made by the legislature only. Judiciary also cannot give any judgment out of its will only. It has to see whether that particular law is there or not. They have to see the law made by the parliament. Accordingly, they will have to pass the judgment, right? So this is called the system of checks and balances, so that no organ has unlimited powers, no organ feels that they are superior to the others, right? So this very system of checks and balances is called, means, to ensure, our constitution maker had ensured it that power should not be concentrated in only one organ or two organs, right? They become they become unruly, or they started exercising unlimited powers. So this balance of power has to be there among the institutions. So very important question. Second question is, power may also be shared among different communities, social groups. Explain with examples. See, the very good example that we can take from is the community government from Belgium, right? That is a very good example for how power is shared among different social groups. Plus, we also know that in various countries there are legal arrangements, there are constitutional arrangements for supporting the weaker sections and women, minorities, right? In our country, we know that last year also we studied about the system of reserved constituencies, so that each and every weaker section gets their due representation. They don't feel alienated, right? What happens in case they are not shared power with, just as we've seen in the case of Sri Lanka, right? There the Tamils, they were not given their due in the power sharing arrangements. The government, they were in the they were not there in the decision making place, or they were not supposed to, the language was not recognized. Their various measures were taken up there, majoritarian measures were taken. And we know how when a particular group or a social group is not shared power with, then in that case what happens, there might be many problems, right, which we shall discuss later on. So this second question is also very, very important. You should prepare the answer from the NCRT book only, right? Most important questions are question number 3. Power sharing is the very spirit of democracy. Justify the statement. Yes, we know that there are two reasons why we are supposed to share power: prudential reasons and moral reasons, right? See, we have to understand this question: why power sharing is the very spirit of democracy. If power is shared, democracy will be said to be existing there. If power is not shared, then democracy will not be existing there. So that is the very existence, and this is the moral reasons that we have to discuss, right? And the next question that is very important is, both Sri Lanka and Belgium are democracies, yet they dealt with the question of power sharing differently. Compare. In this question's answer, we have to write the answer in two parts. In the first part, we can talk about how Belgium has dealt with the question of power sharing, how the Belgian model, it became an inspiration for other countries, all other countries to follow. How they had shared power with all the communities there, even with the smallest community, even the smallest German speaking community also, they shared power by setting up community government. And in central government, state government, as well as in the capital government of Brussels also, equal representation policy was adopted, right? And we have to talk about the majoritarian measures taken up by Sri Lanka, and as a result of which, what happened over there, you can see civil war situation happened. And all this we have to compare. I mean, what were the things that were done in Sri Lanka and what were the things done in Belgium, right? Then the next very most important question over here is, what were the measures taken in Sri Lanka to establish Sinhala supremacy? What were its consequences? We have to just, it is similar to the previous question that we had just discussed. Now we have to, if this question comes in the board exams, you have to write again, there are two parts of this question. First, we have to talk about the measures that were taken up by the Sri Lankan government, right? The majoritarian measures, like they recognize the religion of Sinhalas, right? Buddhism was made the official religion. Plus, we know that how in the government jobs, so the Tamils were denied their due rights, and all that happened. Plus, you would also see what were its consequences. What were its consequences? The consequences, all the measures taken up by the Sri Lankan government, the majoritarian government, that had made the Tamils feel alienated, right? And they organized themselves, they mobilized themselves, and then they made many parties, many unions also, to ask for their dues to be given by the government. So the next important questions are here. Question number 6: what is the decentralization? Why decentralization is necessary? Now let me discuss with you decentralization, when the power is taken from the central and state government and given to the local government. जब power जो है central government से लेकर या state government से लेकर local government को दिया जाता है, तो उसको कहते हैं decentralization. So it's a very important question. And why decentralization is necessary? इसके पीछे का idea क्या है? What was the purpose of decentralization? See, the local people have the best knowledge about the local conditions, and they also know where the money is to be spent and all that. Plus, the decentralization will fulfill the very ideal of democracy, that is self-government, right? So people's participation at the local level will increase. Participatory democracy is ultimately the purpose, right? So this question is very important, remember this. Next is how federalism is practiced in India, and next question also I'll take together: what makes India a federal country? Now most of the time बच्चे क्या करते हैं, इन दोनों क्वेश्चंस में कंफ्यूज होते हैं. वो ये सोचते हैं कि फेडरलिज्म इज प्रैक्टिस, हाउ फेडरलिज्म इज प्रैक्टिस इन इंडिया, व्हाट मेक्स इंडिया ए फेडरल कंट्री. दोनों सिमिलर क्वेश्चन है. नहीं, डिफरेंस क्या है कि इसमें एज ए पॉलिसी हाउ वी आर प्रैक्टिसिंग इट, एज ए प्रिंसिपल हाउ वी आर प्रैक्टिसिंग इट, right? Though we haven't used the term federal anywhere in the constitution, we are called a union of states. Okay, we are called a union of states. And in the next question, we have to talk about all those arrangements, the legal arrangements, the constitutional arrangements, or whatever arrangement that we have in our country that make our country a federal country, right? So first, let me tell you federalism, how it is practiced. Like we have through the language policy, I mean creation of linguist states. Through language policy, we know that we don't have any national language. We have certain number of official languages, right? 21 official languages plus Hindi is also an official language. So we have not given any language of the country a national status, right? We have scheduled languages and official languages, right? Official language number 1 Hindi, official language number 2 English. Likewise, there are many other official languages. Plus we know that through the creation of linguistic states, right, we have tried to accommodate diversity, right? Many regions are there where linguistic minorities are there, people speaking different languages are there, plus the creation of states largely on the basis of language, right? That has also been a towards practicing federalism in the country. Plus we know how the central state relations, the politics, the central how the central parties and the state parties, they have been over a period of time. We know there is a period of 90s, during which the coalition government was gaining momentum. The state parties were becoming more powerful. Supreme Court also has observed that during that time, the federalism was strengthened, means more and more state parties, they also had the say in the government making, okay, or in the decision making. So this question is very important. In what makes India a federal country, in that what we have to understand the arrangements that have been made, like how power is distributed. Like we have the union list, state list, and the concurrent list. Union list is one in which the power to make laws is only with the central government, and the state list one that will contain those subjects on which the state government will make laws, and concurrent list is there on which only the both the governments, central and state government, will make the laws. And we have, apart from them, the residuary list also there. Okay, so and we also have to talk about how in our country independent judiciary is also a very important one of the features of federalism only. The next very question is that only, right? So we have all those arrangements in our country that make our country a federal country. So very important question. And the related question, how federalism is practiced in India. So most of the time we see children getting confused between the two, and they write write the answers for both these questions, they mix the answer. So try avoiding that. And let us just move to the next question. Question number 9, discuss the features of federalism. Yes, a very important and basic question, and very, very, very important question, I'm telling you. Almost I've seen, from my experience I can tell you, this is just the ABC of this chapter, the chapter federalism, right? So discuss the features of federalism. You have to study it so that you would be able to answer the other two important questions also, right? The next question that we have here is, state any two differences between the local government before and after the constitutional amendment 1992. So the year 1992, is a very important. Before 1992, how local government, they didn't used to be regular elections, plus many more things. I mean, we would say the regular elections were not there. The power was also not shared in significant way with the local government, because the central and the state government used to control the state government. And most of the time we saw that how local government only worked as a subordinate to the state government. Okay, so much of the power, though even after 1992, the power sharing, the degree of power sharing, we won't say that is same everywhere. So in some state governments we saw that that there has been more significant amount of power sharing, and in some cases we don't see that much amount of power sharing, right? So we would also note one thing, that after 1992, how it is in the local government only 1/3 seats are reserved for women. Though recently we have seen that how in the parliament also the bill has been passed, though that is yet to be implemented, the women reservation bill. Okay, so this question is also very, 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 very important. I would say you must prepare these questions. आपको ये सब questions तैयार कर लेने चाहिए. और मैं आपको इस बात का ये कह सकता हूँ, मेरे अपने एक्सपीरियंस के आधार पर मैं ये सारी बातें बता रहा हूँ. कहीं से कोई सैम्पल पेपर से कुछ नहीं किया हुआ है. जो भी मेरे एक्सपीरियंस है उसके आधार पर मैं आपको ये बता सकता हूँ गारंटी के साथ कि ये क्वेश्चंस जो है आपको कम से कम तैयार कर लेना चाहिए, ताकि आपको सोशल साइंस में अच्छे मार्क्स मिल सके. So students, the next important question that we have in the queue, question number 11, mention different aspects of life in which women are discriminated or disadvantaged in India. So this is a very important question. I would say that in that you are supposed to write about how women are being discriminated or how they are facing disadvantaged situation. Like at the time of birth also, we know how there is women are killed in their mother's womb even before they are born. This was there because the parents, they may be wanting boy child. In many of the cases we've seen that earlier also it used to happen in large number. Then we also see that, in as far as women representation is concerned, there also, compared to the Scandinavian countries, the representation is very low in our country. Though we have seen that how in the local government 1/3 seats reserved for women, and the bill for women reservation has been passed in the parliament, that is yet to be implemented. Very soon it is going to be implemented also, that we know. So slowly things are changing. But we see that how women are facing in terms of literacy also. We would say that, the percentage of women getting educated, getting literate, is low compared to men. So these are the areas where women are facing discrimination, or they are lagging behind. Okay, next question is very important. Caste alone cannot determine election results in India. So this you have to understand very clearly, that this question, or whatever number of questions that I'm writing over here, these are the most important questions. And in case you're not able to find answers yourself, what I would do, I would also prepare you, I would also provide you the answers with of these questions at the end. As of now, I'm telling you the important questions. You can just find the answers from the NCERT book easily, and here I'm discussing the main points, the important points with you. Okay. So caste alone cannot determine election results in India. First of all, we need to understand each and every question's meaning. Unless we understand the question's meaning very clearly, we won't be able to answer the questions that I already discussed earlier also in my previous videos. Okay, so here, if suppose somebody feels that if you contest a candidate of a particular caste, and since in that region only that particular caste people are living, and it is sure that even though you don't do any development work, you'll clear the election, you'll win the election. That is not necessary, because there are other political parties also fielding the same caste people. So it becomes very tough. So it is not on the basis of caste only you will win the election. And we have also seen many a times, wherein people have changed the ruling MP or ruling MLA, if they're not happy with the work of the MP or MLA in our country, right? Had caste been only the factor, then probably they would have gone by caste only, even though the candidate after winning election, they don't work for the people or not, but they would have been simply winning elections after elections, had caste been the only factor. Okay, so this answer is also there, very much there in the book also, you can find it. So very important question. Next question is, it is not politics that gets caste ridden, it is the caste that gets politicized. So very important, what it means, that it is not always the politics that gets caste ridden, but caste also gets politicized. See, there are benefits also of it. Like we would say that there are many disadvantaged groups or castes or backward caste, they get benefited, they get their representation, because unless and until they are politically expressed, they don't get represented in the assemblies, or legislative assemblies, or in the central assemblies, right, in the parliament. So this is also yet another very important question, especially the in-text question here. This one is an in-text question, plus this also is an in-text question, right? So answer of these questions you'll find in the book. And as I said earlier also, the guru mantra for scoring well in the social science exam is to stick to the NCERT notes, stick to the NCERT explanations, and write the answer in NCERT language only, the formal language you have to use. Okay, I am here to just help you out with this minimum number of questions, that you at least prepare, so that you score well in your social science exam. Even for the potential toppers, my message is that you got to go through these questions, prepare for these answers, prepare the answers for these questions. Then you'll be able to sure shot you'll be able to score well. So the children, the question that we were discussing from question number 11 to question number 14, they are from the chapter gender, religion and caste. This one question that is there, state the reasons why religion and politics cannot be separated. See, we can quote Gandhiji also. Gandhiji had clearly said that religion and politics cannot be separated, because of the good ideas that we draw from every religion. Every religion tells us or shows us the good path. So in a way, we cannot separate. In this way, we cannot separate religion and politics. Plus, one more thing that we have to understand over here. why religion and politics cannot be separated? Because human rights, that is very important. Your sometimes in the name of religious freedom or in the name of religious rights, you cannot encroach upon human rights. This is very important. Plus, many family laws in every religious community, we've seen that they are discriminatory against women, right? So because of that reason only, we cannot separate religion from politics. The government has to intervene, right? There are cases wherein the government has to intervene to support people, to help people from discriminatory family laws, plus to protect them from any kind of oppression or any kind of domination, because we've seen world over the majority and minority communities that are there. Majority communities tend to dominate over the minority communities wherever it may be, any religious community. I'm not naming any religious community, but this is just generally a tendency among the majority community, that if they are having their way, then they could dominate over the minority communities. So the government's work is to protect them, protect the minorities from the possible oppression. I'm not saying that every majority community would be behaving like that, but number always gives you some brute power. So this is very important, right? So this way, this is also a very important question that you have to prepare. And next question is, state the various functions of political parties perform in a democracy. This is something which always in most of the board exams it comes, right? So remember, in the question that I've written over here, they may be in the form of short answer type questions also, or they may be long answer type questions also. See, when we are writing answer for the long answer type questions, suppose if this question comes in the long answer type questions, then we have to write the detailed answer. We simply cannot write or should not write political parties contest election, political parties perform the role of opposition party, political parties they shape public opinion. We have to give detailed answer in that. So it would be better, my advice to you would be to prepare for the long answers, so that you will be able to write the very short answer or short answer type questions as well. Okay, next question is, discuss the efforts and suggestions to reform political parties. So these two questions are from political parties. Question number 15 and question number 16. Discuss the efforts and suggestions to reform political parties. See, whatever so far have been done by the through the Supreme Court judgment and through election commission or governments, like we can talk about the anti-defection law, and we can talk about the filing of affidavit, in which the candidate contesting elections will have to give certain important decisions regarding his regarding any criminal cases pending against him, regarding his educational qualification, regarding his property and all that, so that the voters, they can make informed choice. For that, it is very important. Plus, we also know that earlier the cash donation, this is just recently been done by the present government only. The cash donation limit was earlier, it was 20,000, right? Now it has been reduced down to 2,000 rupees. Plus, we know ITR filing has also been made mandatory by the election commission. They say that they have to show the name of their members, right, on their website, and all the details they have to give, the donation that they are getting. Recently, from Supreme Court also, we heard we heard Supreme Court say that, asking the governments to show from which sources they have got the donations, right? Plus, we can give many more suggestions also, how political parties can be reformed, like state funding of elections, and 1/3 of seats to be reserved for women, right? That is, though the bill is passed, as I said earlier as well. Plus, we can say that there are two more ways also to reform political parties. The good people should enter politics. Plus, the people should be politically very, very aware. They should keep a tab on the functions of the government, what the government is doing with the latest developments. Means every day, whatever decisions are being taken by the government. So as an aware citizen, we have to remain well informed. So the last few more questions that we have taken from your chapter political parties. These are again very important questions, children. The question number 17 is, political parties are a necessary condition for a democracy. Analyze the statement. Why political parties are required? See, in the present day world, we know representative democracy has become a necessity, because without having a representative form of government, we probably won't be able to run the government. We won't be able to because all the people cannot sit there in the parliament together, nor do all the people have the same skill, knowledge, or interest, right? This could be the reason. Plus, we know in non-party based elections, panchayat elections also, wherein each panel, the whole village gets divided into certain number of factions, and each faction will have its own panel of candidates. The political parties also do the same thing. The political parties, they offer you the candidates, right? Different political parties are there, they give you the choice. So for that reason also, it's very important to have political parties in a democracy. Plus, we would also say that if political parties are not there, then the candidates will become independent. They will be responsible for their constituency, but who will be responsible for the entire country, right? Even though the government is formed, but the future of the government is uncertain. I mean, the government, how long will it run, how efficiently will be able to run the country, that will remain uncertain. Now the next question is, no party system is ideal for all countries and in all situations, justify the statement. ये क्वेश्चन भी बच्चों बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है, हाई ऑर्डर थिंकिंग स्किल आप इसको कह सकते हैं। इसमें आपको आंसर करना है कि देखो, जैसे एक कहावत है, वन साइज डज नॉट फिट ऑल, राइट? So what kind of a political party system, whether we'll be having one party system, though is not an option in a democracy, but still we are mentioning one party system also, since we are talking about different party systems, one party system, two party systems, multi-party system. Now which party system will a country have will depend on its historical background, right? And it is not that we choose it, it is just it develops, the kind of party system that we have develops over a period of time, right? Plus, we know that in our country, since we have different religious communities, different there is a diverse uh, diversity in language, culture, we would find, there is a huge diversity, right? So in such a situation, one or two parties would not be enough to represent all the people or all the communities. That's why our constitution makers thought that we need to have a multi-party system, that each and every community is represented, each and every significant community is represented significantly in a meaningful manner, right? So in this way, another question also we are answering, that why we are having a multi-party system, what is the reason why India has a multi-party system. So within one question we have the answer for another question also, right? So these two questions, prepare well for them, very important question, right? So children, and the last few more questions that we are going to discuss over here. Question number 19, how does democracy produce an accountable, responsive and legitimate government? Now children, let me tell you, this question is also, since it's a very important question, but in most of the guides you find the answer for this question, it is not written in a proper way. Like in place of responsive, they actually answer for responsible. Responsive is a different word, its meaning is different, it is not like responsible, right? Responsible, here we are using the word accountable, legally responsible, right? The people, those who are elected by the representatives, those who are elected by the people, they are accountable to parliament, right? So accountability is there. Plus responsive is, they are listening to the problems of the people, right? Next is legitimate government, it's people's own government. It is not like a monarchical form of government wherein a king would decide who would be the next king. So it is a government which is elected by the people, so it's a legitimate government. So this question is very, very important question, you should prepare the answer for this question. I can guarantee that this question will come in the board exams. Okay, no other questions are also there, we can only make guesses, but the guesses are not just wild guesses. I am not making any wild guesses over here, I am just telling you what exactly I do feel. On the basis of my experience, I can tell you that these are the questions which you should prepare, which you must prepare, right? Next question is, expectations from democracy also function as the criteria for judging any democratic country, support the statement with examples. So this question, we have to understand that It is similar to a classroom, which is an interactive classroom. Suppose if the class is interactive, wherein the children are asking questions, the teacher will also be alerted. Teacher, suppose for example, you can understand, you can take teacher for a government, right? And the inquisitive children, those who are asking questions from the teachers, if they are asking very relevant questions from the teacher related to the topic, then the teacher, before coming into the class, before going into the class, he will have to or she will have to be well prepared. In the same way, if people are raising questions, if people are asking, and this is the beauty of democracy, people's expectations never end. The examination of democracy never ends. Democracy passes one test, another test is waiting for it. People's expectation, people's one expectation is fulfilled, people ask for more expectations, right? And people complain. When people complain also, this also shows that how politically they are becoming more mature. So in the same way, as just now I drew a comparison here, that the students asking questions from the teacher, obviously it shows that that is an interactive class, and teachers will also go well prepared to the classrooms, right? In the same way, the government will also be more alerted with more well informed citizens. If citizens are asking questions, this shows that they are showing maturity as a citizen. Their status changes from subject to citizen the moment they start asking questions from the government. So expectations from democracy also function as a criteria for judging any democratic country is equally an important. So children, we have two more questions from the chapter outcomes of democracy. These are yet again very important question. How are the democratic governments better than other forms of government? Explained. So we can say democratic governments better than other forms of government on various parameters, on various grounds. Those points are very important. Like when we say it improves the quality of decision making. The democratic government is one which improves the quality of decision making, because too many people are consulted. Obviously, the chances of making erroneous or making faulty decision, that is very less. Secondly, we would also say that democratic government, it enhances the dignity of citizens, it corrects its own mistakes, right? It's a more accountable form of government. There is transparency in a democratic form of government compared to a non-democracy, right? So these are the points on which we can discuss the answers for this question, and this is very important question. Note it down, please. Next question is how social diversity is accommodated in a democracy. So I feel this question is also equally important. In this, we have to say that it is in a democracy only accommodation of different diverse groups can be done. In a society which is not a democratic society, or where there is not a democratic kind of government, maybe a particular kind of community might be excluded, right? But here in a democratic society, we expect from every democratic society, but we also have seen the case of Sri Lanka, wherein how the Tamils, they were ignored, and their language was not given any recognition, plus their religion also was not given any recognition. So all this we've seen. So to make sure that democracy is a rule by majority, we have to understand that rule by majority doesn't become rule by majority community, right? And everybody has the opportunity to be a part of majority, or to be a part of the decision making group, right? Today everybody would be participating, but maybe the proposal that you are supporting, that is not being passed, or that is not being approved, right? Today you may be on the losing side, but tomorrow your proposal may be approved, right? This is very important. So everybody gets the chance to become part of the majority. This is very important to keep in mind. So this question is also very important. So children, these are the questions from your political science book, and I have taken important questions, the most important questions from each and every chapter. I hope you will listen to my advice, you will follow my advice, and you will at least prepare these questions to score well in social science. For any doubts and any queries, or if you want me to explain on any of the questions or any of the topics that I have just mentioned, you can freely, without any hesitation, can ask me questions, can drop your questions in the comment box. I will also provide you these questions in the description box, and in the end of all the books, important questions, I am talking about the social science, all the important questions, after having given you all the important questions, then I will also provide you the same questions, their answers in the description box. Right? As of now, I'll be sending you only those important questions that I have just written over here. I hope things will be very helping. These things will be helping you very much, and I would wish that you score well in your social science exam. So thank you so much.